Hi YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, the 1911 pistol, and I have another pretty unique one here to show you. And this is a company that not a lot of people's heard of, but this is one of the higher premium 1911s made today. This is a Cabot S103 1911, and before we start off, I'm going to show you that there is nothing in this gun and it is clear. So a little bit about these things. This is made by a company called Cabot Guns, and one of their main claim to fame is these things are 100% made in the United States. And when you talk about custom 1911s, most people are going to know the four major ones, that being Wilson Combat, Nighthawk Customs, Ed Brown, and Les Baer. Well, you can add this one to the list. It's maybe the fifth largest ones. These are called Cabot Guns. And these things became really famous several years ago. The owner of this company, he wants to do everything unique. And what he did is he went and purchased a meteorite. And he took the meteorite because it was hard enough, and he machined it down with everything, and he made a set of matching 1911s out of meteorite. And nobody else has ever done that before. He wanted to be one of these inventive people to do something that nobody else has ever done before, and he made the guns, and I think they end up selling for like $1 million or $2 million or something for the pair. It was some crazy price that they sold for. But that's what put this company on the map, and it definitely grabbed my attention. So I have quite a bit of extensive history with this company. I've had several of these things. I mean, several of them. And for a while here, I thought this was the 1911 to end all 1911s. And I still think they're very good, but I've looked at other brands a little bit closer here in recent times. But let me tell you a little bit about these things. These things are all made in-house. This is no part on this gun is manufactured anywhere else besides Cabot Guns. And they make all their own grips. They go as far as to go and hand picking out the wood when they have wood grips that is grown in the United States. All the steel is manufactured in the United States and refined all in-house and everything. All their parts they make in-house. There's nothing that they don't manufacture. And this company is a little quirky in the fact that they don't sell any parts or anything like most of the other manufacturing companies. Like Wilson Combat mainly, they're big time into selling their parts. You can modify your other brand 1911s. This company won't do that. A guy that I know that I got one of these for one time, he wanted to get this little 3-star. This is their kind of little signature thing, these 3 stars on the triggers. He wanted to get one of these triggers for the for one of his Colts or something like that. And I talked to him because I had an inside track at the time with the company, and they're like, absolutely not. We don't sell parts for anything. So they do not do that. They will you only get these parts when you buy their guns. So one of the things that they were famous for, this is a Commander style. So this is a 4 1/4 inch barrel, and the 1911 has always functioned its best whenever it's in its full-size configuration, 5-inch barrel, full-size frame. Usually up until modern times, 1911 started having problems when you started modifying barrel links and all that, because they have to be in time. This slide has to be in time and everything when it slides back, and you can have some reliability issues. Well, this company really paid attention to detail when they manufactured these, and this gun here has, when you open this gun up, has the same length of travel as a full-size gun. And what they did is, I'm not going to do this on camera because this gun is probably the tightest 1911 you're ever going to encounter. What they did is they took this barrel bushing on the end here, and they were the first ones to do this, and they shortened the barrel bushing down. So a regular 1911 barrel bushing would be a little longer, and they shortened this so they could retain the same length of travel, the same timing and all that, and it ended up working out pretty perfect. So if you look at this thing, if anybody knows anything about 1911s, you start paying attention, close to detail, look at how tight this thing is put together. Now there is going to be little oils and stuff that squeeze out of this thing, but I'm telling you, this thing is the tightest put together 1911 I have personally ever seen. And I've seen a lot of them. I've seen every brand. I've pretty much owned every brand of them and everything. And this thing is tight. And if you look at how tight everything fits, this barrel bushing is not coming off without some type of barrel bushing wrench. Now, a lot of the manufacturers, including this one, will include a barrel bushing wrench with their guns. This one you're going to need it for. Now, a couple of things that this company does that I've never seen any other company do. Like, let's take, for instance, their checkering on this thing. This is what they call rhombus checkering. So this is directional, kind of like a tire on your car is. And when you grab this gun and you're firing it, the natural recoil is going to go up like this. The muzzle rise will go up. Well, it grips your finger as it's going up. But in the other direction, it's pretty smooth. So when it goes down, it's pretty smooth. But when it goes up, it grips like a tire. They call it rhombus checkering. And I want people to look at the attention to detail they pay. Look at right here where the finished metal meets the checkering. There's a perfect line. There's no just rough cut edges or anything like that. Same goes for the back strap. Everything's just perfect on this thing. If you look at here, how tight everything fits together, it's just absolutely amazing how tight this thing is put together. And they have another thing that they came up with, and I don't know if they have a patent on this or not, but one of the big things about 1911s is when you're taking them down, you have to take this slide stop out of it. And people put on these things, when they go to put these things together and they press this thing back in, especially a real tight one, they'll slip off and they'll put a scratch right here, and it's been known commonly as the idiot scratch. This one you cannot do that with. They have some kind of angle that they cut on this thing, and like, I'm not a professional gunsmith, and if I had it apart and had somebody in person, I could explain it a lot better. But the way they angle this, you literally push this thing in and it will not slip off of the little detent here that retains the slide stop and the thumb safety. It will not do it, and you cannot idiot scratch this thing. And I don't understand why all 1911 manufacturers don't copy it or something like that. But it's really cool how they do that. But everything else is just finely finished. You know, this mag release, the front checkering, the trigger, all the everything's machined perfectly. Now, these things are built on CNC machines, and they're supposedly absolutely 100% perfect. The CNC machine tolerances cut these things so tight that supposedly you can take this slide off of this gun and put it on any other Cabot gun that was produced around this time, and it would work just as smooth. I have not tried that out yet, but that's supposedly a fact. It's got a memory hump on it, extended beaver tail, commander hammer, because this is actually a commander gun. All this texturing and everything is all cut with CNC machines, and everything's perfect on it. If you look at this, there's the only kind of engraving or roll marks on this thing. It just says Cabot Guns right here. Now, this company, one of the things that drives me away from this company, there's your Cabot Guns logo right there, and of course where it's manufactured and the serial number. One thing that drives me away from this company is I'm a shooter. And I like nice things, and I like to have nice things, but this company leans more towards I guess you call the collector industry, the white glove people that don't like to handle their stuff or use their stuff, and that's not going to be me. This is probably one of the cheaper models that they make, and these things are absolutely probably one of the most expensive 1911s you're ever going to encounter. And this is the base model one, and this thing, you have to take a mortgage out on your house pretty much on one of these things. But they lean more towards the collector people and all that, and that's not really what I'm into. But they do shoot pretty amazing. Now, I'm going to be honest, and I'm always honest in all my videos, a couple of these things that I've gotten for people because I had an inside contact with this company there for a while, so I could get these for people and help people get them faster. But a couple of these I've gotten, I remember one particular is put together so tight, the very first round that went through it, the slide got locked back on it, and I could not unlock it. And I've been around firearms my entire life. I understand how to clear a malfunction out of a weapon, and I understand all that. I had to ship it to them with the slide half back, and it was locked in place, and they corrected it. And I mean, this company's great. I would say this company's every bit as good as Wilson Combat when it comes to customer service. They rush you a label, and they get that thing done, and they get it back to you. But this one here has just regular night sights on it, and it's Cabot Guns manufactures the sights and everything like that. One of the things that they do differently, most 1911s have like a dovetail where you push the sight in. Cabot Guns, if you look at this thing, the way they mill the slide in, it goes in from the front. So there is no dovetail cut in it. It's just a cleaner look. The top of this one happens to be serrated on the top, and if you just pay attention to how they do the detail, there's no rough edges. Kind of comes to an arrow where it meets the sight. All their barrels are flush cut, reverse crowned, and everything. These full length guide rods are not 2-piece. You know, a lot of the guns that have the full length guide rods are 2-piece, and it causes a lot of problems if you want to break this thing down at the range, clean it or lube it up or anything. These are not. The way they're manufactured, it has to do with all that timing thing to make it work like a full-size gun. It's really cool. So it just goes in like a regular guide rod. It's got a flat wire mainspring on it, and if you look at the frame, everything's like perfectly beveled. It's not rough at all on the inside. This one doesn't have a mag well on it because this is more of the poor man's Cabot gun, if there's a such thing. But this frame's all perfectly beveled out, and there's just something that I'm not going to be able to really relay on camera. But out of all the high-end 1911s I've handled in my life, and I'm telling you, there's been a ton of them, and I will tell you good and bad things about every single one of them. But this gun is the smoothest gun you're ever going to operate. This thing, I have never felt a slide work like this. And I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let you listen. If you look at how this thing operates, there's no jumping. You were never going to see another 1911 work like that. And this trigger on this thing, I've mentioned this many times. I don't think they make a bad 1911 trigger. I have a 100-plus-year-old Colt from World War I, and it's got a better trigger than like a Glock or something like that. And that's just a common thing. It's just a superb design, the 1911 is. But this trigger is absolutely amazing. So I'm going to give you a thing. I'm going to grab the safety here, and I'm going to watch this take up. That's all there is. And this thing just is so crisp the way this thing has. And the reset on this thing, here it is. That's all there is. This is an absolutely superb trigger. These things are probably one of the finest shooting 1911s there is. Now, a lot of things, this is controversial, but all I ever talk about is my personal experience with stuff. This gun is put together so tight that you probably are going to have to break this thing in. And they do loosen up after a few hundred rounds get through them. But when you first start shooting them, I knew Les Baer has a lot of problems too. They put theirs together real tight, but it's nothing like this. This thing is insane how tight the tolerances are on these. But once you break them in, there seems to be no problems with them. And when I told you I've had a couple problems, it's only been very isolated incidents just with them. And I think they're more aimed to people that want to put them on a shelf or put them in some kind of display case and all this. If you're going to shoot one, this would be the one to do. This is a stainless, Commander. It doesn't have anything fancy on it. It's not made out of meteorite or anything. But if you go on their website and just look at some of the crazy stuff that they build, it's absolutely will blow your mind, the kind of stuff that they turn out. They do have some gorgeous looking firearms, but man, are you going to pay for them? I mean, the price that these things cost just absolutely stuns me. And I've owned some pretty expensive stuff and everything, and this particular gun right here, I mean, I don't really like to talk a lot about prices, but this gun here is going to be over $5,000 just to buy this, and this is probably one of the cheaper one you can buy. Just the only upgrade this thing has is these grips. They don't have regular G10 grips on it. It's just, these are walnut grips with the Cabot Gun logo right here in the middle. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit and show you the little Cabot Gun logo. But this is pretty much the most basic Cabot gun that you can buy, and they are super expensive. But I've leaned more towards, everybody's got their favorites in life, and for a while, like I said, I was pretty heavy into these things, but I lean more towards like Wilson Combat, because Wilson Combat was founded by a man that actually shot guns, and he's a shooter, and he wants functionality. Everything on this thing works very positive, as expected when you pay this kind of money for a firearm. But it's a great company, great customer service. Just everybody there is super nice when you deal with them. Another thing about it, it's like any other typical 1911 maker. If you order one of these things, it's probably going to be a year before you get it. And I don't know how they are now, but they're probably pretty backed up. It just amazes me there's that many people want to pay this kind of money for a 1911. See, they have the countersunk slide stop in it. Just all those normal features that a custom 1911 is going to make. It's just lower down and flare, and it's a little bit different shape than the typical custom 1911 that you see the ejection port is here. But I mean, these guns are super awesome. They function really well. You're just never going to see something work like this. I'm telling you right now. I mean, I've handled a ton of them. I've never seen a 1911 that worked this smooth in my life. They usually all have a little hitch in them or something like that, which is fine. But these things are put together so tight and just so precise with the machine work that they do that it's like nothing I've ever seen before. But like I said, you are going to have a little bit of a break-in time and all that to loosen this thing up a little bit. But if you're looking for something that nobody else has, and this is a pride of ownership thing, and if you take stuff to the range, I mean, this thing will shoot super accurate. This is the company to turn to, Cabot Guns. And, they've been around for 10 or 12 years, I think. They've been producing these guns, and they do some really unique things. And this is one of the companies that they'll do anything you ask them to. I mean, if you called them up and said, I want to put a 3-carat diamond on my 1911, they're going to do it for you. I mean, it's 100% custom. However whatever you want to do, you'll do it. If you have the money to pay for it, they'll do it for you. But they're really, really, really good company, really well-made firearms, and I just wanted to show y'all something a little bit unique that not a lot of people see every day. And if you have any questions, I'm super knowledgeable about these things. I have a long history with them, and I could probably answer it for you, but if I can't answer it, I will find the answer for you. But anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm sorry if it drug out a little longer than normal, and you folks have a great day.